Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh closing out the week here with you. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. It's Friday. We've got a whole bunch of NBA Cup games here, 11 on the slate to be exact. So we're going to get right into things here with some best bets. We've also got player props in this episode as well, bringing both of those to you in one episode each and every weekday moving forward. So make sure to subscribe to that channel. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into the first game you're looking at. Should be a pretty good one here. We've got the Magic and the Pistons in their group, kicking it off with the Pistons -3.
Yeah, and the Pistons need 37. They need to win by 37 to win the group, but they're very much in line for a wild card spot. They're pretty much tied with the Knicks and Cavs, who are in that chase, and the Bucks, just to set the stage there. But I mean, more interestingly, just like on Wednesday, I was like, what is this fishy line with the Pistons -2.5 at Boston? Turns out the books knew something. They knew that the Pistons were due to lose at some point. Boston with a great all around effort to finally stop that win streak. But now we get our first bounce back spot for the Pistons since they played the Orlando Magic on October 29th after their last loss, and they beat them by 19. They limited Orlando very much in terms of assists to turnovers, in terms of paint points. Did give up 40 free throws. However, half of those were basically Paolo, who, as we know, is out. And that's not a fluke in terms of limiting the other stuff. That's what Detroit does. They're number one limiting assists, elite limiting paint points, and that's where Orlando scores all their points. So it makes sense that this is a good matchup. They've won 7 straight home games since. They've also been incredibly clutch in November. If this is a close game, as the line indicates, they're plus 30 net in the clutch with the best rebounding rate in the league. Orlando's 22nd in rebounding rate in the clutch and only -0.3. And they've lost 3 of their last 5 on the road. They're coming off a smackdown of the Philly 76ers. That was so surprisingly how lopsided it was. But I mean, otherwise, they had lost 3 of their last 4 on the road. They were playing shootout basketball, not Orlando Magic basketball. And if you try to get high scoring with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons, they can be that way. If you try to muck it up, they can out physical you and win a bar fight. So I definitely like backing the Pistons tonight.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they're getting healthier. This is like you said, a nice bounce back, and there's just seems to be a bit more for the Pistons going than the Magic right now. And definitely didn't consider them as a team I'd want to back right now when they play good comp like this. Anyway, so speaking of not playing good comp, like I think the Bulls are getting a raw deal here. To be honest, I do like them 2.5 too, but I also just don't think they're that bad on defense that this thing should be 248.5. Like, no one wants to take unders on cup night. I get it, but come on, man. What are we doing once we get up to 248.5? This thing got bet up from like 244.5, which the books probably thought like, no way people are just going to slam overs. We finally made it high enough to avoid just everybody hitting the over in a Bulls and or Hornets game, especially when you put them together. But I'm just not there with it, man. I mean, this total is only hitting the 2 of the last 10 Hornets games. And I mean, a number of these have hit like 244, 245. So I like even 247 in there as well. So they have hit the mid 240s. They're just not hitting 249. And with the Bulls in this one, like there's so many guys questionable. I mean, all you really need is like 1 or 2 of the large amount of dudes between Vooch and we got Huerter out here, also questionable. A couple other guys I want to make sure we mention.
Kobe White.
Yeah, yep. Kobe White was getting to him for sure. You might have heard of him. Okoro's out in this one or is doubtful, so probably not playing. Probably better for the defense for him, but he's also a good transition player. So, I mean, either way, like just when you look at the pace, just take like the last 5 to 7 games for both these teams. The Bulls are number 1 at this point. Charlotte, though, is not consistently that high in pace at this point. They're actually down in the last 5, all the way down at 25. I thought they were at like 20. It's even worse than I thought in terms of how fast they're playing. So in their last 5, they're down to that. Brandon Miller's been back for a couple games. And when it is a LaMelo Ball influence sort of stat here, where when they play with him, they're at like a 110 pace versus when they play without him, that thing drops. So it's like 108 to 102 now, but it's a big drop with and without him. And he's played a legit amount of games this season. But the other thing here is now that we have Brandon Miller back in this game as well, we've got a lot of touches coming away from LaMelo Ball, and he's not getting nearly as many rebounds as he was. That's a huge part of this pace, like his ability to impact the pace when he's not getting defensive boards, lazy defensive boards especially, then yeah, there's not as much to worry about. So I just think this is crazy high. Even if it hits 240, it's not going to be like a slow game. It's just 250 is getting a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it is 249 in some spots. And on Wednesday, when you couldn't join me, I actually was correct fading the Hornets at home against your Knicks, 242, I believe it got up to.
Mhm.
I was just like, this is just crazy when the Hornets are not like a LaMelo Ball team, because he's has a trade request in. He's not like pushing the pace or playing his textbook style, and they're just not going to score that much. And if the Bulls are missing all these guys key for their offense, like definitely could be more of a mucked up game than it would anticipate in terms of this crazy high total.
Yeah.
Sixers to win. Lots of ways to play this. They're -7 at Brooklyn, but I mean, we like Jarrett McCain to at least get into double digits, and of course Maxey to get 20, and then you're at -105 with the Sixers to win. Seems like a pretty rock solid way to play it. I mean, you could also parlay that with the Thunder and Lakers here on Cup night, but I think if you want to stay SGP here, you stick with that. I mean, for what it's worth, the Sixers have not won a cup game, but now they get the Nets, and so it's obviously a cupcake spot. This is the first game all season that the Nets will not have either Cam Thomas or MPJ, and they're already the worst offense in the league. So, like, where are points coming from? Sixers defense, fresh off their embarrassment against Orlando, another bounce back spot, like I'm saying, and I mean, the weirdest thing I found is that the Nets are actually leading the NBA in free throw rate in November. So that's where their points are coming from, I guess. Well, the Sixers are sixth limiting free throws. So this should be solid in that regard. And I just don't know who's threatening you from deep here. We do have no Oubre, no Edgecombe, no Embiid. That's probably a positive. It's definitely a positive if you're just betting these two guards. That's why with no Edgecombe, that's why we think McCain is going to get that 25 plus minutes that he's suddenly ramped up to. He's going to be able to get those 12 plus points. That is his core prop line. And of course, we know what Maxey can do. I mean, the Nets do not have even a decent matchup for him. And he's been a road killer lately, right? I mean, what do you have, like 54 his last road game? I think his low on the road there is like 29 points this season. I don't think he's failed to score 20 all season, right? I mean, so this seems like a rock solid leg.
Yeah, I'm with all of that. I'll probably talk about at least one of these guys in the player prop section of things, just because you got to take somebody against Brooklyn, and I'm usually looking for that guy that's in that sort of I don't want to say breakout spot, but a nice either bounce back spot or perhaps breakout spot, or slump busting kind of spot. Like that's how I look at the Nets, as a nice slump busting team for offense. So let me look at one more best bet here and talk about the Cavs and Hawks, and like the Cavs are like, I don't believe in them as like a championship contender, but I definitely believe in them as a top 2-3 team in the East, and they're rounding into that form. And I think the most important thing is having healthy Darius Garland alongside Donovan Mitchell, with healthy DeAndre Hunter, with healthy Evan Mobley, and by the way, healthy Jared Allen as well, who's been slightly less impactful this season, I'll say. But regardless, having him in there, obviously you round out the nice starting five. And when they've had those five there in that lineup, they have a plus 12 net rating in just like 27 minutes so far on the season. So like we know what they're capable of. Nothing's changed with their ability. It's just their availability that has not been there for them this season. And for the Hawks, like it was a nice run there without Trey right when he got hurt. We also were talking about on this show, like, look at who they're playing when they lost Trae Young. It was a really bad time for the Trae Young narrative, for him to go down and them to play like a bunch of Wizards and Pelicans kind of games right after he went down. But, in the last little handful here, they've at least come back to earth to not just being like a top 3 defensive team in addition to that good on offense, but it's actually been their defense that's been struggling a lot more in the last 5, specifically down to like bottom 10 in the defensive rating, to be exact. They're 22nd right now in that D rating category. And the other thing is the moving the ball stuff, which was really, really nice. The assist to turnover ratio, the assist percentage, all that stuff, like it's still pretty good, but the turnovers have just gotten really, really high. Like the assist percentage is nice, but there's just too many turnovers coming, which is, I don't know, it's like almost like Trey's kind of there sometimes, but he's not. Like a lot of the impact of him being there and not being there, the results somehow seem the same. And it's a Quinn Snyder led offense, so you're gonna buy into that. But I just don't care that like the bigs are the ones really doing everything. When I say bigs, I mean Jalen Johnson, even Onyeka and KP. Those have been the guys, with Nah also coming in and shooting really well. But I do like the defense that's going to be out there for the Cavs, when you're going to have a little bit more Lonzo and a little bit less like Sam Merrill, a little bit more Jalen Tyson. Those athletes that are going to be out there on the wing for them, I think they're going to be able to hang with the Cavs on defense enough, and then on offense, this team is probably going to be putting up another $115 to $120 on the road here.
You know what? 3 of the last 5 losses for the Cavs are against the Toronto Raptors. They have, and then one against Miami when they were missing a ton of guys. So yeah, if they're at full strength, yeah, they're pretty much trying to assert. I mean, they're still not completely at full strength, but they
Sure,
have
they're
more
close.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the buck is starting to stop for the Hawks in terms of like where are you creating offense down
yep,
the stretch when you don't have a point guard.
right.
Uh, Player props. I mean, I got 2 guys here who might not even play tonight, but
Yeah,
hear me out. If they don't, if they don't, you just get your wager back.
yeah,
And that's why maybe you play Giannis 30 plus and the Bucks to cover 8.5, and then you're at over 2-1 on your money. Because then it's a nice safety net that like, oh, Giannis doesn't play, so now I don't have to worry about the Bucks covering it at the Garden. But if he's in there, we know he's going to be aggressive. I think he could have played on Wednesday, right? I mean, he was upgraded, seemed like he was going to go, and then just like a couple weeks ago, he wound up sitting on Wednesday against Charlotte, playing in the cup game because he cares more about these cup games. And then he puts a pretty big line, 29 and 18 dimes against Charlotte. He's now averaging 33 in the cup this year, had 38% usage in the last cup game last year, scored 37 on Orlando. Not a soft matchup. Had a 46% usage actually in that particular game. It was the previous 2 cup games. He had 38% usage. So my point is, he comes to play in the cup. He's looking to score. And the big thing here, maybe buried the lead, is OG Anunoby is not playing, and he's the guy who maybe has given Giannis the most trouble throughout his career. Like you look at his career splits, if OG is out there, he might actually go 24, you know, to 18 points, like pretty consistently. I just don't have the same respect for Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Cat at the back line in terms of if Giannis is getting ahead of steam. I think he can do just fine against them. In fact, I mean, he did score 37 on 16 for 22 shooting with OG active against the Knicks earlier this season. So matchup is not that scary. It's a situation where I think he's been waiting for the stage to come out and carry this Buck squad. And Lord knows they could use his usage rate. Ryan Rollins, bless his heart, has been carrying this team. And yeah, I mean, they could cover even if Giannis doesn't play because that's what we just saw on Wednesday. But if Giannis plays, I definitely like the plus 8.5 as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a it's a different team without Giannis. Really, just impactful analysis right there for sure. This team's not as good without Giannis, and 29.5 is just going to be a little bit of a buy low spot to sum it all up in a spot where like we normally would have him at like 32.5 points, especially when you have a total that you think is going to be a little bit higher on a day like this. So getting to Jared McCain though, I do think this is just a wonderful spot for him, man. Everything just sort of points arrows towards him, which is 25 minutes, 26 minutes in his last 2. If obviously if Paul George was already ruled out, this would just be just chef's kiss and probably wouldn't even be 12.5 to be fair. So I think the Paul George stuff though, when you like, I'm not saying teams are going to necessarily just take their starters out if they're winning. I'm also not saying we should just say right away that Philly's going to be up by like 20 at the half. I don't think it's that level of blowout for them necessarily, but it's the Nets. So it's an easy cupcake opponent with a guy who they would love to get going if he's healthy enough. And there's now room in the rotation for him to do so without even needing to nibble on, Kelly Oubre's minutes or even Quentin Grimes. There's no Trenton Watford in this game as well. So there's just like a lack of wings. There's a lack of backcourt already where it's just really Tyrese Maxey ball handler. And that's why Paul George being out there is annoying to me because he does take that level of usage, but he is doing his work out on the wing. And it's like there's just 2 wings and Maxey. And if there is a blowout in here, we got McCain as a guy who I'm sure they prefer to give a handful of minutes to over Paul George, over Quentin Grimes, who's been getting a ton of usage as well because he's been needed to do that. Like I think Quentin Grimes at like 18.5 points is actually a little bit silly. And like Jared McCain might be better off at like 14, 15.5 as the projection here. But happy to take this where it is. And the fact that the books like the Quentin Grimes stuff so much more, there's a lot more unknown around Jared McCain. I'm playing into, well, what better time to get him close to 30 minutes than this one?
Yeah, I think Grimes is the guy who's more blocked by Paul George coming
Mm,
back, right? I mean, and if anything, yeah, I would look at RA for Grimes. I mean, he does like to shoot threes, but other than that, he's kind of a glue guy for them. The future is this McCain Maxey combination. That's why I'm talking about that with the SGP. I think both of them, yeah, can definitely have success here against a poor Nets defense. The other guy who might not play, Anthony Davis, who has, but I mean, the dude's been practicing for like 2
he wants
weeks.
to play.
He
Yeah.
wants to play, right? A reporter asked him, which leg are you playing? Are you playing Lakers or are you playing Clippers? And he said, you know what it is.
You know what I would.
So, yeah, I think he's going to be out there. Books, some books have not put up this line, but where it's up at minus 120, I think you gobble that up. I mean, 20 points is a pretty good floor for him in this situation. You look at his splits with the Lakers when LeBron doesn't play, he's well north of 25 points, right? He's like 27, 28 points a game, sky high usage. And now he's on a team that obviously does not have a LeBron. It does not have, even a real legitimate secondary creator or scorer. I mean, just a bunch of wings. And when he was out there for 4 games for Dallas, he had 25 points a game on 28% usage. Last time he faced your boy dominating, he actually had 30 on 37% usage because LeBron James did not play in that game. So he's going to be able to. They're going to run the offense through him. He didn't necessarily get the revenge he wanted in game 80 last year. He goes for 13, 11, and 6. They got smacked by the Lakers. I think this one would be more competitive if Dallas has AD out there. But it's just another opportunity to get some revenge after he feels like he was just discarded. And now probably no matter where you go, you're going to hear the discourse that you are the worst return ever on a superstar trade. And you have no candle to hold to Luka Doncic. You're now back in trade rumors because your GM got fired because of how bad the trade for you was, and you have no value. Obviously, this is extremely motivating for AD to go out there and perform.
Yeah, this is the Super Bowl. This is definitely the Super Bowl for Anthony Davis. I think that like you just go like 30 and 15 as well. Just like let me just sprinkle on the ceiling here because the realistic ceiling is that for him in this game is like go crazy, folks, go crazy, and not caring about anybody else's stats in this game. There's nobody else to care about their stats. Like no one else is dominating the ball. Now, I honestly like Ryan Nembhard is back. He's just taking assists away. Like I love that for AD actually, by the way, having a guy who is legitimately pass first. I mean, Brandon Williams, as good as he's been, is still pretty much shoot first kind of point guard. We know what D'Lo is. So I think there might even be something to like this Najee Marshall, Max Christie, and like Ryan Nembhard kind of lineup that kid's been playing with. And that's wonderful for a guy like AD who just that screams 26 shot attempts for AD in this game. So 20 points is a wonderful buy low spot. If this dude plays 28 minutes, that's a fantastic line. So DeAndre Hunter's also getting a little bit of value here, more probably on the points, but the rebounds at 4.5, I'm still going to take. It's really just about the fact that like the books have gone too far by where they're placing his lines with Darius Garland back. Like it doesn't matter that much. He's still the third option on this team. And if you look at his numbers when he's playing on court this season with Donnie, Darius, and Evan Mobley, I didn't even bother putting Allen out there because honestly, Jared Allen's like the first dude in the starting lineup off the floor, and they do like to split up the Mobley and Allen minutes. So it's kind of the same difference. It's like Mobley or Allen, whatever. One of them's on the floor with DeAndre Hunter with the 2 guards. Dude's still at 21 points per 36 minutes in addition to 8 boards per 36 minutes. Like he's going to be out there doing those things. And like, let's give him a little bit of the revenge spot. Like this team has him in the starting lineup right now, the Cavs. And guess what? He could never crack on the Hawks was the starting lineup. And that, I don't know how that sat with him. He's always been a like team first guy, I know. And he loves the idea of just being a microwave scorer, but like that doesn't stop now. Like Atkinson just has him doing the same stuff as if he was the 6th man. It's like, yeah, you still got the green light, dude. Everybody's got the green light. Just because Donnie's pulling all these shots doesn't mean you're not allowed to either. Everybody is. So that's I love that. Then he gets the non-Donnie or Darius minutes as well as he stays on the court with one of them and the other one goes out, and he sort of is just always going to be a top 2 or 3 option on the floor for them. So love him to continue to be that on offense. And the boards are the only thing that maybe you leave out. 15.5 points is super beatable on the points, but I still think like I said, the numbers that tell me that when he's on the court with these guys, he's still got an edge on the boards too.
Yep. Yeah, and you're back in the Cavs. It makes sense. They have +8 differential, I think, for that wild card spot in the East group, in the East Cup overall. So I mean, they're going to be leaving starters out. They're going to be looking to win by as much as they can against Atlanta. And yeah, Hunter's under when they score a ton of points. Hunter's usually going like 20 plus.
No doubt. Yep. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also got plenty of NFL for you on the weekend. So until we see you next, happy betting.